Shalom. Yep. Straight. Okay. Alright, shalom. Of course, first and foremost, we're going to say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKodash, Kal Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKodash. Of course, we're going to give double honors to our apostles and elders.
It didn't come out.
The title?
Right, yeah.
The video live?
Yeah, I can.
Is it going to adjust?
Yeah, I'll adjust it in a second. Salakia.
You got the light, brother? Yeah, because it look very dark. Love?
Yeah, come.
Shalom. Shalom.
Yeah, it's good, bro.
Con. Give me 1 second, Akim. 1 second. Alright. Of course, shalom, Marcus. Of course, we say Kal Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKodash. Of course, we give double honors to our apostles and elders. A great millstone, shalom, salutation. To all you sincere actors across the four winds, pushing the shoe for sincerity of heart. Of course, DC Camp, GMS Troop Sent. I'm Kasama Gun.
Zuyan Allah.
That's right. Through the spirit power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. We back again with another edition of the Hebrew Israelite diaspora. And like we said, it wasn't just going to be limited to the continent of Africa. You know what I'm saying? We was going to go different places. Because the nation of Israel is scattered abroad across the four winds. Not only one continent. You know what I'm saying? But, of course, you know, a lot of the history have to do with the continent of Africa. But some of the history as well is Israelites being located all over Europe, man. Understanding that the Dark Ages was a time where Israel was scattered, and Israel had dominance over a lot of places. That's why in Esau's curriculum, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, right? In his curriculum, when he goes into the Dark Ages, he doesn't really dive deep into the matter, into that history. He pretty much says that it was 1,000 years worth of just nothing. Vain history with plagues, men dying of the black plagues, and that's pretty much it, right? And then the world was able to revive, to be reborn out of the ashes of the plagues. But that's not the truth. You know, you have to know the history. It's very important. What's that? Ecclesiastes, the Lord requires that which is past. You know, it's very important to know the history. And Job said, to inquire about your fathers, your forefathers, man. It's very important. Why? Because you cannot rely on Esau to tell you about yourself, man. You cannot rely on Esau to tell you the truth about who you are, the history of your people, and certainly not the future of your people, which is prophecy. You know, Esau can't tell you nothing about prophecy. That's a gift that's only given to the prophets of the Lord. You know, the election of what? Of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. But when you're talking about the past, you gotta do some digging. The spirits gotta get on you, and you gotta do some digging. You know? What's it, Ecclesiastes 3? And 15. And 15, can you read that, Raksha?
It's Ecclesiastes 3 verse 15. That which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been. And the Most High requireth that which is past.
That's right, and the Most High requires that which is past. You know, so we gotta dig into the past. The Hebrew, Ibar of the past, on our history. And today, through the Spirit, man, as you see the subtitle, we're gonna go into the Moorish Empire. You know, because brothers, we know we always talk about the Moors, right? You know, we always talk about how it's a critical part of the Dark Ages. So we're gonna get some basic history on it. Who were the Moors? Of course, their belief, their origins, how they got started, their origins, and where did they actually come from? You know, and you know, so brothers can get some history and be more fluent when it comes to the history of the Moors. You know, it's good to know about the Moors. It's better to even know little details about the Moors, so you can be fluent when you're out there preaching the word of Yahweh by Shemel Shad. So when you add that history to it, man, it's straight fire. You know what I'm saying? And men would have no way but to bow down to the doctrine of Yahweh by Shemel Shad, man. So as you know, that's right, brother. I'm glad you pulled that up. Because we used to have the other image, but we're not on Ham right now. Right now we are on Europe, you know, the continent of Europe, and we're gonna go into really dealing with Spain and the Moors. Who were the Moors? You know what I'm saying? And of course, if you know who we are, you already know. We know the Moors were Israelites, but we gotta, you know, get a little bit more details, man, and images and pictures. And we're going to bring it out, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to be edified. Lord willing, you know, brothers going to be edified. And, you know what I'm saying? Take notes if you have to. We're not going to read the whole thing because it's a lot of history, but we're going to hit some, you know, we're going to hit certain points that brothers can remember and know. And when, you know, when you out there, man, you can just spill it, you know, and let it flow like water, right? So, the first thing we want to do, of course, I like to go to this scripture, just pretty much set the stage, is Leviticus, it's like Leviticus chapter 26 and 33. Actually, I'm going to start at 32. Leviticus, well, I'm going to start at 31. Alright, I'm going to start at 30. So like in Leviticus chapter 26 verse 30, it says, "And I will destroy your high places and cut down your images and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols." Which that's what we're going into. The Lord, hey, Yahweh by Shemel Shah, man. The reason why the Moors came about, as you're going to find out, is through the wrath and the anger of Yahweh by Shemel Shah. Why? Because the Lord set up an image. You know, he set up an image, he set up an idol. You know, he set up an idea of how things are supposed to go down. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the nation of Israel. But instead, the nation of Israel, being rebellious, right? Being rebellious by nature, right? Has done what? Hey, suck out their own inventions, their own images, their own idols. So the Lord said, "I'm going to destroy that." But first, not only is he going to destroy your idols, because Israel had these idols while in the land of Israel, he was going to destroy those idols, and then he was going to get you up out of there, man. So you don't want to rock with my image, you don't want to rock with my idol, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to worship me. You want to worship a different image, you go ahead and do that, but you're not going to do that in this land, in the land of Israel. Right. You're not going to do that here. You want to be like the heathens? You want to pick up the customs of the Arabs, Islam? Go ahead and do that, man, and see how that goes for you. Because if the Moors, if we're going to find out if the Moors and if Islam really worked for Negroes, wouldn't the Moors still be ruling? I guess they're not, right? Because, hey, Islam is some bullshit too. Now, this is Leviticus 26 and 30. It says, "And I will destroy your high places and cut down your images and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols. And my soul shall abhor you. And I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuary unto desolation. And I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors." Right, those are the burnt incense. You know? Because if you burn incense under Allah, that's a terrible scent to the Lord, man. It says, verse 32, it says, "And I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste."
And part of that sword being after us was that Islam. You know?
That's right.
We got put to death under the sword to be put under the influence of Islam. That's why Jacob's messed up today, man.
That's right, because as you're going to see, we're going to go into the history of the Moors, and the Moors started to take over about the 700s. But remember, Muhammad and the Mohammedans, you know, them Arabs, they started to take over in the late 600s to what? It says from 632 to 610, right about when the Moors came about. So they started what? They pushed the Islam by the sword. That's how you became as a Negro, right? So-called Negro. You're gonna find out it wasn't just Negroes. So-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Some of y'all as well was Moors. We're gonna read it. You know what I'm saying? Through the sword. So go ahead, brother. Let's hit it.
Alright. Pull up this picture. Alright. This from Babylon to Timbuktu.
Yeah, keep that one, brother. While we reading, keep that one.
It was Babylon to Timbuktu, page 109, the Moorish Empire. In less than 100 years, the black Arabs had pushed their way completely across North Africa in the 7th century. At this time, the Arabs were black. They had not mixed much with other people. The Arabs did penetrate into the interior of the Sahara Desert, but only in small numbers, so that the territory remained basically African.
Right, now we gotta make you gotta understand.
That's right.
Right, we gotta understand that it says black Arabs. You do have Ishmaelites. What's that? The tents of Kedar. You do, let's make it, because it started with them Arabs, and then Jake picked up on it. As we're gonna read in the history. Who are the Arabs? Really, the word Arabs means mixture, right. But we really talking about Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? Ishmael was the son of Hagar, right? And Hagar was the concubine of one of Abraham's concubine. Hagar was an Egyptian, a Hamite. You know what I'm saying? And as you know the history, Abraham had a child. His firstborn out of Hagar was who? It was Ishmael. Right. Now Ishmael had 12 princes. They called the 12 princes of Ishmael, right? And one of his sons, the second son of Ishmael, was Kedar. Right, Kedar. That's where you get. Solomon said, "I'm as dark. I'm dark. I am dark and calmly as the tents of Kedar," meaning as the sons of one of the sons of Ishmael, Kedar. So you did have dark skin, which you still do. You go over there in Saudi Arabia, not all of them are light skin complexion. You got some of them that darker than us, but they're not us. They're just the sons of Kedar. Right. So there you did have so-called black Arabs. And then Israel came in, so-called Negroes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and even, as you're going to find out, a few Simeonites and so on and so forth was in the mix. Right?
It says, Mulay Idris, the descendant of Ali, the son-in-law of Muhammad, brought northern Morocco under his control late in the 7th century.
Now, it says the son-in-law of Muhammad. Now, let's get some history. Who was Muhammad's wife? Keturah, right? Khadijah. Yes, Keturah. Keturah was Abraham's other concubine, Khadijah. So when it says son-in-law, that means he was of the family of Khadijah, right? Right? And we know Khadijah to be what?
Jake.
Israel. Right? I'm saying that right, right?
Yeah. Israelite. Yep.
So that lets you know that, like you said, if you know the history, Khadijah was an Israelite. She was an Israelite woman. She was a black woman who pretty much she had wealth, and she pretty much was the sponsor to Muhammad, and his conquering of the Berber tribe. We talked about in northern Africa, in northern Africa, and how that whole northern parts of Africa is heavily into like Islam, which Jakes is a part of that. So you had that mixture. This is when Ishmael was really fucking with Israel like that. Right. But Israel wasn't in the Israelite mindset.
Right.
Right.
And it says
well, actually pull him up.
Mulay Idris?
Yeah, pull him up.
Salakia Akil. Mulay Idris, also known as Idris I of Morocco. Alright, it says Idris I, also known as Idris ibn Abdillah, was the founder of the Idrisid dynasty in part of northern Morocco.
Right, which we went into Morocco and the northern, the Jews of North Africa. Right. You see the link.
That's right.
Spain was always linked to northern Africa.
That's right.
Because it was what? It was a heavy Hebrew Israelite influence, but under the spirit of Islam.
Right. Right, the first wave of slave ships, they said, came from Spain.
That's right.
In part of northern Morocco, in alliance with the Berber tribe of Araba. He ruled between 788 to 791. He is credited with founding the dynasty that established Moroccan statehood and is regarded as the founder of Morocco. He was the great-great-great-grandson of...
Oh, look, it says Morocco in alliance with the Berber tribe. Remember, when we went to the history, it said that that queen, remember that Israelite queen that made an alliance with the Berber tribe to fight off, who was that? Who were they fighting off? Were they fighting off Esau, or were they fighting off?
Nah,
they fighting off Ishmael, right? And then they lost, if I'm not mistaken. We had to go
back to the last video.
You know, we had to go back, but they was an alliance. But who made an alliance with the Berber tribe? It was Israel.
Yep.
So that guy's an Israelite, man. Mulay Idris.
Mulay Idris.
Mulay Idris. You know what I'm saying? The dude was an Israelite. So now you see these are not. This was not an Ishmaelite. Cause that's why I said son-in-law. He was of the family of Khadijah. What's that?
Khadijah.
Khadijah, which was an Israelite woman. So that's when you start to see the establishment of Israelites, right? So-called Negroes, right? Moors. Now, what's the word Moor? Let's look that up, brother.
All right.
Then we should have looked at it earlier, as a matter of fact. Let's look up the word Moor, or Moors.
If I'm not mistaken, it just simply means black. But Moor is a noun, Moor is a verb. So let's go to the noun. North African Berber, late Latin Moorish, inhabitant of Mauritania, region now correspondent. It says Greek Moros, perhaps native name, or else cognitive with Moros, black.
Black. That's right. Going back to Moreno, Negro, right?
Right. It says because you kind of skimmed through it a little bit. Being a dark people in relation to Europeans, their name in the Middle Ages was a synonym for Negro.
That's right, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the 700s, what they call Dark Ages, Middle Ages. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's what. It was Negro.
So you showed you that the Moors was Jakes.
Yeah, it was Jakes. It was Jakes, man. It was straight up. You know, that's how they called them Negroes back then, man. Moors. Right now it's Negro. They don't. You know. But see, that's why you got these dudes that's part of like the Moors belief.
Moors Temple and all
Moors Temple and why? Because they read that history and they're holding on to that history, not understanding that was just a temporary thing. Right. For a particular age of Jake being in a rebellious state of mind.
Well, you got some of them call themselves Moors Israelites.
Yeah.
Some of them guys. They say they're Moors Israelites.
Yeah. You know? But you can't hold on to being a Moor.
Right.
You know, you have to go past. You got to go further back.
Right.
Further back, and you realize, no, you're a Hebrew Israelite that took upon the customs of the heathens, and in this case, the custom of Ishmael. Man.
That's right. That's right.
And also remember, the scripture said Ishmael is a wild man. So you know, you Negroes, you know what I'm saying? You Negroes, when you under that spirit, you had that spirit of what? Of being wild, man.
And that little boy, crispy nigga out there, coming out the camp.
Yeah,
he
the black crab.
You're dumb as a cow and all that. But the nigga would not calm down, man. Yeah, man. He's singing out there, hey, yelling. That's that wild spirit.
That's that wild spirit. He damn near started looking like a son of Kedar, man. Yeah. When he's an Israelite. What's his name? Robert what?
I don't know what that nigga's name.
Yeah, Robert something. You know what I'm saying? I call him the black crab. Go ahead up.
It's reading on in the book. This is for that.
You read the paragraph on Idris?
Oh, going back to Idris.
Yeah, finish that.
It says he was the great-great-great-grandson of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Going into the history, it says Idris was the great-grandson of Hassan, who was the son of Fatima and grandson of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. His brothers Muhammad al-Nafs al-Zakiyah and Ibrahim had been killed by the Abbasids during an abortive rebellion, and Idris himself escaped after the defeat of another Alid uprising at the Battle of Fakh in 786 and took refuge in the western Maghreb, nowadays Morocco. There he established the Arabian Idrisid dynasty.
Right. But see, they say that he was the grandson of Muhammad.
Right.
putting them in the lineage of Muhammad.
Right.
But see, when you read here, when you read here,
he said he was the son-in-law of Muhammad.
Right, you see that? When you hear, but it doesn't say that over there, right?
It said he was the it says he who was in the grandson of the Islamic prophet Muhammad.
You see that?
Even above it says great grandson of the Islamic prophet Muhammad.
You see, but you see that?
Yeah.
That's not the same.
Something's off.
Something's off. Somebody's lying.
Right.
Somebody's lying. But hey, because we know the history, we incline through the spirit of believing Rudolph R. Windsor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the spirit that because he says the son-in-law.
Right. Right.
He said son-in-law, and the Moors were not ran by Ishmaelites, man. It's just the custom and the belief that was in there. But see, that's why you can't believe all of Wikipedia, man.
That's right.
You can't. Why? Because it's still a history that's not full history.
Right.
You know, there's certain little intricate details that, example, if you read that cuts off Israel, man.
Yeah. That
cuts off Israel. It makes it an Ishmaelite thing.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
Well, that's what Esau does. Esau's the devil, man.
Devil, man. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Going back into the book, it says, I'll pull this picture up. Salakia. Pull that picture up for brothers to see. On page 109, it says, Mullah Idris, the descendant of Ali, the son-in-law of Muhammad, brought northern Morocco under his control late in the 7th century. With the 7th century is the 600s
right.
AD, not to be confused with 700s.
That's right.
He says his son and successor was Idris II, who founded the kingdom of Fez. At this time,
let's look up the kingdom of Fez. They got a precept. This is going back into again. This is talking about so-called Negroes, and again those as well as so-called Hispanics as well as you're gonna find out being Moors, right? Now this is Jeremiah chapter 2, and I'm gonna start it. Jeremiah chapter 2:26. It says, "As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed." Right, because the Lord said, what's that on the scripture? Confusion of faces.
That's right.
But when you go to Daniel's, I think it's Daniel 7. Is it 7? No, I think it's Daniel 9 and 12. 9 and 10. You go to Daniel's 9 and 10. It says confusion of faces.
That's at this day, right?
And also,
no, 9 and 7. 9 and 7.
Right, no, but get the one when it says, Israel shall not wax pale, that shall not be ashamed. Because that's what it's really about. That's the scripture we should take, because that's the scripture. And remember, in the past, it used to be broken down as far as like Israel shall not wax pale. But really, what it meant read that. Just go ahead and read it.
Isaiah 29 and 22. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Bashmel Shai, who redeemed Abraham, concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed.
There you go. That's that shame. Right? Go ahead.
Neither shall his face now wax pale.
Now look up the word face, and then look up pale, because it's not talking about looking like a cracker, man.
Right.
That's not what it's talking about, man. So first we gotta look up the word face. What does it say?
Word faces, presence, person, face, of animals, face.
All right, go to Animal Online and look up. Go to Animal Online and look up face. Type in face. Let's get the breakdown on what's that? Isaiah 29:22. Isaiah 29:22. Okay, where does face come up? What does it say?
Face, or etymology, the human face, a face, facial appearance or expression, likeness, image.
Image. That's it. That's what the face is. The face is the image. What's the image? Genesis. What is the image of in Genesis? The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Most High, who you are, everything. That's what we live in right now. We live in the image of the Lord right now. We know Yahweh B'Shem El Shah. We know we Israelites. That's the image.
Right.
That's the face right now. Now that we know what the face is, going back to Isaiah 29. So when we go back to Isaiah 29,
it's right there. It says, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face.
Right, his image. Right, his image or his nationality, everything that comes with that. Go ahead.
Now wax pale.
Now wax pale. Now look up the word pale. Right.
The Hebrew word there is chawar.
Right.
Chawar. Okay? To be white, grow pale.
Now go to the animal line and look up pale.
If I may, it says, Strong's definitions, it says to blanch as with shame.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's that shame.
Right.
All right? Let's
Right.
go to animal online. The word pale, as a noun, it says, let me see. It says pale as a noun, stake, pale, pole, stake for vines, stake, prop, wooden post, which that's not it. It's talking about appear pale. Let's go to the adjective, because that's describing.
Yep.
It says from Old French pale, pale, light colored. From Latin pallidus, pale, pallid, wan, colorless. From palir, be pale, grow pale.
Right. Let me see. So I can pale. Let me see. Go pale. Because when you look at pale, okay, when you looked at pale, right? Is it read again? Light colored.
Light colored. Latin pallidus, pale, pallid, wan, colorless. From palir, be pale, grow pale. All right. Is it tested?
Look at the noun.
The noun is talking about pretty much. I'll read it. Stake, pole, stake for vines. Latin Polish, stake, prop, wooden post. Fence of pointed stakes, figurative sense of limit, boundary, restriction. That's pretty much.
Yeah, because that pale, I mean, it's not giving. There's another man, when you look at the word pale, meaning as far as like not being, like going back to that shame.
Yeah, because
going back to that shame.
Yeah, because in the Strong's, it says in dealing with shame.
Right.
It's not talking about an actual color.
Right. That's what I was
dealing with shame.
That's what I was looking for.
Right. Well,
and it's not pulling up.
Not on that one.
Yeah.
But when you go to chawar, and that's why it's important to look up the Strong's definitions right here.
Yep.
It's a chawar, a primitive root to blanch as with shame.
As with shame. That's right. What it is. That's what it is. As with shame. That pale right there, that's what it is. Actually, that's the answer. The answer was there. I knew the answer. I just, as far as the reference, the animal 9 is not the one who had the reference. It's that shame. So now let's go back to Isaiah 29, and when you read it, trying to replace those words with what we found, and then it's gonna show you the proper understanding of that scripture.
That's right. This is Isaiah 29 and 22. Therefore thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed. All right. Neither shall his face, his image, now wax shame.
That's right. Now, his image is what? His nationality, the name of the Lord. Following, worshiping Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? Having faith in Yahushua. That's our image. That's our faith. That's our faith. Our face. But we lost our face, right? How do we do that? Now let's go to Daniel's. Now when you go to Daniel's and you look and you see the word face, is although we use that, we use, because there's levels to breaking down certain scriptures. Brothers use it, to say what confusion of face as far as looking, physically, but it's really more so talking about the spiritual face or the spiritual image, meaning not being in the customs of your origins, following after the customs and the origins of another person, another race. Go ahead.
This is Daniel 9 verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces.
Right, confusion in images. Confusion in images, meaning Jacob's getting into all types of images, all types of idols.
Also slavery.
That's
going
right.
into slavery,
going
into
slavery.
Not knowing who you are.
That's right.
It's not just talking about, because you can look like another nation, but if you had the records saying that you went back to an Israelite, you would be in confusion of face.
That's right. You would still have your image of your face.
So confusion of faces is not knowing who you are, being brought down to a lower state.
That's right.
That's that being ashamed.
That's right.
Okay. As at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Right, the men of Judah. That we going into the men of Judah for the most part right now, the Moorish Empire. right? So-called Negroes, you know, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and a few Ephraimites, as you're going to find out, a few northerners of Israel, you're going to find out was what became Moors, meaning they became confused in face or in image, right?
And unto all Israel that are near and that are far off.
Right. Oh, what does that mean? Scattered.
Yep.
And I shall scatter you abroad. The scattering, the what? The diaspora. That's when you look up the word scattering, it goes back to what? The diaspora.
Dispersed.
Scattered, dispersed, scattered abroad. That's literally what diaspora means. Scattered abroad. Come on.
Through all the countries whither thou hast driven them.
Come on, man.
Because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee.
So we became Moors because we trespassed against Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Our face is being Israelites. But when we start picking up other faces, other images, you know, such as Islam, we call ourselves what? Moors, and so on and so forth. So that's how, you know, this is the history, man. That's the proper breakdown of those scriptures, right? All right, brother. Now let's go back. Image. No, actually, let's go. I gotta go back to Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 26. It says, "As the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets, saying to a stock, Thou art my father, and to a stone, Thou hast brought me forth." What's the stone? It's going back to the Kaaba stone, which the Kaaba stone today, you know, is symbolism. It symbolizes Islam. You know, now we was thinking, well, how far does the Kaaba stone go? Which actually, let's pull that up right quick. Kaaba stone. Let's read like the first, paragraph of the Kaaba stone. Or the black stone.
Yeah, because really it's called a black stone in the Kaaba shrine. So people just call it the Kaaba stone.
Yeah.
The black stone is a rock set into the eastern corner of the Kaaba, the ancient building located in the center of the Grand Mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. It is revered by Muslims as an Islamic relic, which according to Muslim tradition dates back to the time of Adam and Eve.
That's right. That's not true. That's not true, by the way. You know, you just got to put that out there. That's not true.
That's right.
But yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, Jeremiah 2 and 27. "Saying to a stock, Thou art my father, and to a stone thou hast brought me forth. For they have turned their back unto me. They have turned their back unto me, and not their face, but in the time of their trouble, they will say, Arise and save us. But where are thy gods that thou hast made thee? Let them arise." Why? Because remember, who took down the Moors? The Turks, Ottoman Empire. You know, the Ottoman Empire took them down. So back, if Islam was the way for you Negroes, right? Then you would have never lost to the Ottoman Empire, man. You would have never gotten your ass kicked. You would have never been grabbed up and sent as slaves. You know what I'm saying? Like they said, what the first crop of slaves came from Spain. You know. So you Negroes, a lot of you Negroes went from being descendant of the Moors. You didn't even touch Africa, man. The history shows you didn't even touch Africa. Your generations didn't even land in the continent of Africa. You fled from Israel, going up north, going up north, if I'm not mistaken. Not all of Israel went down south to the continent of Ham.
Yeah, right.
So some of us are lineage went straight to Spain, and from Spain you went straight to the American captivity, man. Now it says Jeremiah 2 and 28. "But where are thy gods that thou hast made thee? Let them arise, and if they can save thee in the time of thy trouble, for according to the number of thy cities are thy gods, O Judah." Right, because Judah, of course, is so-called African American, and when Judah really covers Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, so-called West Indians and so-called Haitians, you know, when you deal with Islam had multiple gods prior to Allah. So you definitely had cities, and you had different gods that you worship, man. That's what it means, confusion of faces. Let's go back, bro.
Good to bring that up. Going back into the book, it says, at this time, in the land of Spain, the black Jews were persecuted, and many had fled to Morocco for refuge. As a result of this persecution, the Jews of Morocco and the Moors planned to invade Spain with the assistance of Spanish Jews. In the meantime, the plot was uncovered and the Jews of Spain suffered for their intentions. Early in the 8th century, the Mohammedans from Morocco, united with the black Jews, made what we call an amphibious landing at Gibraltar.
That's right. So you see how the mixing is coming. When you're looking at an amphibious, look up the word amphibious. Look that up. Put that up right quick in online. It's going to explain exactly what that means. I looked it up, but you know, it's best we look it up so brothers can get the understanding. I'm gonna read it while the brother looks it up. It says, early in the 8th century, the Mohammedans from Morocco, united with the black Jews, made what we call an amphibious landing at Gibraltar. You know, Gibraltar, if I'm not mistaken, that's what you're gonna look, you know, that up. That's where they made wars, trying to, you know, help the quote unquote black Jews, which is all Israelites, man. But
amphibious, it says combining two qualities, having two modes of life, especially living both on land and in water.
Right. Basically, you have Israelites that were, you know, keeping the customs. As you're gonna find out when we go into Israelites living in Spain that didn't follow Islam. You had, you know, you're gonna find out the Spanish Inquisition, so on and so forth later on. So, you know, you had Israelites that follow Islam, called Moors. So you had that dynamic. And you got to understand that about history. I mean, two groups of people might have thought they were not the same, but they might have been the same, just not knowing. Same thing with how the Romans call other Edomites, when the Romans were Edomites at the time, the ones who were calling them Edomites. You know, and you talking about the Romans-Jewish wars and all that. Like, hold on, dude. You know, so that's what we talking about, man. You need to know that. Go ahead.
Oh, that was pretty much.
Yeah. Go back to the book.
Right here, it says, it said, early in the 8th century, the Mohammedans from Morocco, united with the black Jews, made what we call an amphibious landing at Gibraltar. This invasion was successful. Nahum Slouch says that the first one to set foot on the soil of Spain was General Tarif, a Jew of the tribe of Simeon.
You see that?
Yep.
General Tarif was a Jew of the tribe of Simeon. It didn't say Judah. It didn't say Benjamin. It didn't say Levi. It said Simeon. Why? Because like, remember what we said when we read even in the other book about how you had northern kingdoms in North Africa. Thus Morocco. Thus dudes like Prince. What's that? Not French Montana. You can see, bro. You look at French Montana. What tribe does he look like? Simeon. Yeah. Clearly, you know what I'm saying. So that's history. Go ahead.
After whom the island of Tarifa, opposite Tangiers, was named. However, the rock of Gibraltar, previously known as the Pillars of Hercules, received its new name from the great Moorish conqueror, Jebel al-Tariq, which means the mountain of Tariq. Here is a vivid account of the conquering Moors.
Pull them up right quick, brother.
Jebel al-Tariq.
Yeah, Jebel al-Tariq. It says, previously known as the Pillars of Hercules, received its new name from the great Moorish conqueror, Jebel al-Tariq, which means the mountain of Tariq. It's a little bit of history, man. I mean, like brothers is being edified, we being edified. You know what I'm saying? So we pull up images, like you said, we all, of course we know, understand that Esau and iconoclasm, he might pull up some bullshit. So we look for images that we know will most likely look like, like what we looking for. Because Esau, look at this crap. That don't even look, brother. That don't even look like an Ishmaelite, man. Stop it, Esau. That don't even look. As we expect them to have him look like an Ishmaelite, but that don't even look.
Everybody's got their Edomite.
I mean,
Jebel al-Tariq is goddamn Edomite. Come on, man. I mean, come on.
Now look. Now we talking. Look at that.
Nigga's name is Tariq, but it looks like an Edomite.
Look like an Edomite. Oh man, they might not have an image of the man, but I like that image right there, man. On the bottom with them fighting.
Right.
Look at that. You know, that's how. Hey, you pull up on Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up. Look at that, and pull up Morgan Freeman. You know, and that movie.
Let me get the clip.
Yeah, get the clip. We're gonna skim through it just a little bit. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Curse on Moors and Saracens. Were it not for their ungodly ways, Master Robin would never have left. What manner of name is Azine? Irish? Cornish?
Moorish.
You see that? You know, we had to pull the clip up, and you see right here. What kind of name is Tariq?
Yeah.
Is it an Edomite name, right?
Right.
Come on, look at the outfit.
Right.
That's exactly what Morgan Freeman had. They show you the movie, you know, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, that the Moors were Israelites that picked upon the customs of Ishmael, man.
Right.
During the 700s, starting around 711. Right? Go back to
What's up? All right, back in the book, it says, here is a vivid account of the conquering Moors described. You saw the devil. Described by a writer who sympathized with Christian Spain. The reins of their horses were as fire, their faces black as pitch, their eyes shone like burning candles. Their horses were swift as leopards, and the riders fiercer than a wolf in the sheepfold at night. The noble Goths were broken in an hour, quicker than tongue can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, luckless Spain!
Right, that's why we seen the image. We see with Jake. You had the image earlier with Jake winning, like wild men in the desert. So you know you get on that Ishmaelite spirit. You know they would look at that. They said in one. They said what, in one day? What did it say? It
said
in 1 hour.
In 1 hour.
They took that
quicker than the tongue can tell.
So they moved on them in 1 hour. There's Jake, man. Right.
It says, these black Moors ruled over parts of Spain for more than 700 years. During this time, the Moors developed the greatest cultural civilization known anywhere in Europe. In the last but Esau says it's the Black Ages.
Yeah, man.
It's the Dark Ages.
Dark Ages.
In the last half of the 11th century, there emerged a powerful dynasty of sultans from Senegal, West Africa, known as the Almoravids. They established their capital at Marrakesh, Morocco, and became masters of a new empire that included Senegal, Morocco, Algeria, Tunis, and southern Spain.
Wait, look up Almoravid. Yeah, Almoravids. Yeah, pull that up after you finish the
This empire was even larger than Western Europe.
That's right. And again, like this is just part one. You know, we're gonna have part two. There's gonna be some more information that's gonna come out in part two. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, we're gonna come up with the next title.
Almoravid dynasty, Berber languages, was an imperial Berber Muslim dynasty centered in Morocco. It established an empire in the 11th century that stretched over the western Maghreb and Al-Andalus.
Right, basically, and when it says Berber, remember when we went into the Berber people, which is remember, they're saying that because, remember, nobody truly understands the concept of nationality and ethnic background, even when it's confused within religion. Because although they called it the Berber people, we know the scripture, it tells you, not just the scripture, but it tells you there was an alliance of Israelites and the Berber tribe, you know, the people of Put. So we know it was influx of Israelites in that, man. Heavy, especially during that particular time, the Berber, which were Hamites, being pushed to the back, man. It was led by Israelites, but they were called Berbers still. Why? Because, again, the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of nations, it takes the Spirit of the Lord to guide you, man. The history itself cannot tell you who's who as time continues to flow.
It says, founded by Abdallah ibn Yassin, the Almorid capital was Marrakesh, a city the ruling house founded in 1062. The dynasty originated among the Lamtuna and the Gadula, nomadic Berber tribes of the Sahara, traversing the territory between Dra and Niger and the Senegal rivers. That's the Amarid.
So I had hold on. Just want to since this scripture on the Apocrypha I want to bring forth. Well, actually, we go wisdom because I want to bring the Allah stone right quick. This is because it goes because all of that. I mean, we don't glorify the so-called greatness of the Moors. You know why? Because it wasn't great. It was a time of rebelliousness of Jake.
Right.
And then that's why they got taken down, man, brutally.
Right.
This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter. Because why? Because the Moors were fornicators. Let's just be real. The Moors were fornicators. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 12. It says, "For the that's what it says. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life." So I'm reading again, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 12. "For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the inventions of them, the corruption of life." So the Moors were living a corrupted life. Now, although they did tell you they weren't eating pork, you know, they were following into Islam, and Islam, yeah, they don't eat pork. But when you burn incense to another god, that's fornication.
That's fornication.
And the Lord eventually is going to have you taken down, man. Verse 13, "For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever." You see that? Islam was never for us Israelites from the beginning, nor shall it be for us forever. That's why when you get into these other belief, the Lord is going to tick your ass down eventually, man. It says, verse 14, "For by the vain glory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end." Talking about these idols, like Allah, you got that, you got the image, the stone, which when you look at that stone, when you look at Allah, it shows you, it says it calls Allah the moon god. And really that goes back to, you know, you got to look at the Greeks, and the Greeks had Artemis, you know, we went into that. Diana of the Ephesians, how she actually was Artemis, the moon goddess. And then that's when you see that crescent. That's when you see that crescent moon and the star. And then with this picture, that's new. You know, the way he sits is similar to fucking Baal, man. And you know, Baal that's a demon that's been in Israel for thousands of years, man. We know we went over that, man. That damn spirit of the calf, man, I'm telling you. It's been in Israel for thousands, for hundreds of years. Going back to Exodus, man. Niggas still haven't gotten rid of this damn demon, man. Even in Revelation, didn't in Revelation the scripture said, the Lord said, "I have a thing against thee," because they have worship Baal and Balaam, the custom Baal in Revelation. I think it's, let me see if I can bring that up right quick. It's Revelation. This is Revelation.
Right.
So this damn spirit has always been creeping around, and that's why niggas get bugged out. There's Revelation chapter, let's see, Revelation, it's one of the earlier verses, Revelation chapter 3. Yeah, Revelation chapter 2 and 14. Revelation chapter 2 and 14. It says, this is the Lord speaking, his red letter. It says, "But I have a few things against thee." Well, actually, I'm going to start at 13. It says, "I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth." Now, and today, where's Satan's seat right now? It's America. You know what I'm saying? The United States of America, that's Satan's seat, man. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it was a different place, and back then, physically, it was a different place in what was that? In Asia Minor, if I'm not mistaken. But it was ruled by Edomites, and Antipas was a man of the Lord who got boiled in a cauldron, you know, for believing in Yahweh Shah, you know. It says, verse 14, "But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast dared them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel to eat things sacrificed unto idols and to commit fornication. You know what I'm saying? And that's a revelation, man. So why you still got these things going on today, man? The nation of Israel, we went into abortion. You know, we went into abortion. How abortion, the spirit of abortion goes back to who? It goes back to Baal, man. It goes back to sacrificing your child. Moloch, which is, you know, Baal, same thing. Moloch, you know, the bull, the calf, Moloch, it turns into an owl later on. You know, sacrificing your children, you know, to the fire. For what? For success. You know, that's what it is. Israel's been doing that. You know, we went into that. The fact that the number one reason why the Israelite woman is so successful, far above the Israelite man, one of the main reasons is she's the number one when it comes to abortion. She's top dog. So she's constantly sacrificing to Baal. Through, of course, Esau has to do that. It helps her on that. She sacrifices to Baal, and that's how she gets help in this society. And you can't seem to crack it open in this society, man. It's all spiritual, man. So now let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 27. It says, "For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil." You see that? Everything starts with the first commandment, and it ends with the first commandment. Thou shalt not have no other power, no other image, no other idol, no other face besides me. And what is the link to keeping that first commandment? It's called faith.
That's right.
All right, brother. Let's go back.
Throw this up, Salakia. All right. Going back into the book, this is page 110. It says, "At this time, the first general of the Senegalese was Abu Bakr, who was supplanted by a stronger general, Yusuf bin Takfin."
Wait, you know, brother, you can kind of tell what Abu Bakr means in the Hebrew, right? Think
Abu
about
Bakr, Abba, what, blessed?
Yeah,
blessed.
no, yeah. Either it's got to. Of course, Abu means, you know, father. Abba,
Right.
Bakr.
Bakar.
It's either Bakar or Barak, but I see Bakar.
A chosen father.
Chosen father. It's more Bakar, because if it was Barak, the K wouldn't be there.
Right.
Because remember, of course, Ishmael was a Hebrew, so his language, Arabic, you know, it's super. It's not super, but it's close to the Hebrew, because he was a Hebrew Ishmaelite. He learned the tongue of Abraham.
Right.
You know, which is the Hebrew. So when we see Abu, we know Abu is Abba.
Right.
You know, we see Becca, we know that's got to be Bakar. You know, go ahead.
It says, Yusuf's first aim was to construct an elegant capital with marvelous houses, a marble-floored palace, and beautiful flower beds. The city that he built, Marrakesh, or Morocco City, became the name of this country.
Right, and remember, this is back in the 700s. You talking about the beauty of Morocco back then. But remember, Esau tells us in his curriculum that during this time, we were monkeys swinging on trees in Africa, man. That's what Esau tells us. So when you sending your child, you dumb, ignorant Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, when you send your child to this man's school system, you got to understand what he's doing to your child, man. He did that to us, man. You talking about from birth to senior year, like 14, like 18, yeah, 14 years of brainwashing under his curriculum and his false history, man. That's why we call him the devil. As a matter of fact, let me get on Job. Always bring that up. Job is at 13 and 4. If you can pull it, if you get there.
This is Job. Pull it for the brothers to see. This is Job 13 verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value.
That's right. That's right. That's what they are. They're forgers of lies. And they have the indoctrination. But you know what? We understand, brothers, you got to understand something as well. When we take over and the kingdom of Israel, we're going to do the same thing, because there's certain things that Esau has done to the world that's what you're supposed to do when you take over. But you're supposed to be, it's got to be in truth. Indoctrination.
When we take over, it says the people are going to rejoice.
Yeah.
It's in righteousness.
And the people are going to be indoctrinated. Indoctrination is a natural process of dominance when you take over the kingdom. You take over a kingdom. We're going to indoctrinate the nations. Meaning what? The nations are going to have to, the scripture said, they're going to come and worship at the Feast of Tabernacle.
Yeah, it's the teachers of his ways.
Right. We're going to push our laws, and they're going to try to keep the laws to the best of their ability. And when they go up, we're going to jack them up. And when their children come up, and then their children are taught, their children are going to be taught of the laws of the Hebrews.
It says Micah 4:2.
What?
But 4:1. But in the last days it shall come that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains.
Right. That's going to be indoctrination.
And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it.
But aren't we all flowing into the European mindset right now? But we've flown not right now because the Lord is removing His elect. You know, the 144,000 and the 1/3 out of that, but we've all flown. The whole earth has flown through what the Edomite
doctrine.
the Edomite doctrine, the image of the beast, right?
And many nations shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord and to the house of the Most High Jacob, and He will teach us of His ways, and we will walk in His paths.
That's indoctrination. For
the law shall go forth from Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
Plain and simple. So Esau indoctrinating us he's supposed to do that. But the thing is, he dealing in lies. We're gonna indoctrinate the whole earth on truth and sincerity. Well, when I say sincerity is among us, but in truth.
Right.
That's the reason why the kingdom of heaven is never gonna be removed. Why? Because the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is gonna be established in truth. Right. Everything that's established in lies must be taken out, man.
That's right. That's right.
Now I got one more. This is Psalms 58:3. It says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. I'm going to read it again. Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. The wicked is talking about the nation of Edom, first and foremost. Talking about the Edomites, the so-called white race. It says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. So that's why even in the history, you gotta do your own research. You gotta dig. Don't believe in what Esau taught you, man. But the majority of our people don't do that. That's why they come up and always make the same statement about King James. He was a white man and he was a faggot. And as soon as the Jake says that, you know, he didn't look that up on his own. He didn't do his own digging. He relied on the indoctrination of his master, his enemy, Edom Esau. Go ahead, brother.
Going back to just for brothers. And it says, when Moorish power was declining in Spain, Yusuf crossed the Mediterranean into Spain in order to reinforce Moorish control. He brought 15,000 black troops with him and defeated Alfonso VI with his 70,000 Christians at the Battle of Zalaca.
Right, now pull up Alfonso VI right quick. We're almost at the end of part 1. You know, just trying to pull up some images to these people. Alfonso VI of Spain. Right? Remember, this whole time while the Moors are doing this, they're having a whole bunch of children with Edomite women. You know, that's why you got a lot of us in these places like Spain, Ireland, Scotland. You know, Moors was laying down pipe. You know.
It says Alfonso VI, nicknamed the Brave, or Bravo, or the Valiant, the son of King Ferdinand I of Leon, and Queen Sancha, daughter of Alfonso V and sister of Bermudo III. He became king of Leon and of Galicia, and then king of the reunited Castile and Leon.
Right. So image.
This is the picture. Okay, it's not
oh, it's not some. Yeah.
Hold on, I might be able to do it this way. There it is. Yeah, they got it as a dark face.
Dark face. Might have been.
Right.
Because I mean, eventually Spain, you know, Esau,
right.
Esau came up
right.
and did his thing.
Right.
Like a little later on, so it wouldn't be a shock if he was a Jake.
Right.
You know, like I said, that's why that it happened like that in history. Two men of the same nationality would fight, but their customs was different. Because he was a Christian, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Spain, the battle was what? It was between Islam and Christianity, man. At the time, man.
Alright. So lucky, bro. Yeah, but you can see as some of the skin is peeling off, it looks kind of like it's white, or the hands or something like that. But you can tell it was a dark image. You see the dark right there. All right, going back, it says page 110. It says, let me see.
Yeah, when the Moorish power declined.
When the Moorish power was declining in Spain, Yusuf crossed the Mediterranean into Spain in order to reinforce Moorish control. He brought 15,000 black troops with him and defeated Alfonso VI with his 70,000 Christians at the Battle of Zalaca. During the wars of the Almoravids, the greatest commander and hero of Spanish literature was slain. His name was Rodrigo Diaz de Bivar, better known as El Cid.
Gotta pull that up. You know, brothers know about that, of course. You know, it'll be good to watch the movie El Cid. You know, if you got some time, Akim's, watch that movie, El Cid. It goes into, you know, what's that, man? You know, the war, there was a name for it, man. The war, Islam against Christianity, man. What's the name for it? There's an actual name for that war, man.
Let's see if I can,
damn.
See if I can.
Cause I was also doing well, later on a crusade came about it, but there was, you know,
Let me see if I can.
but there was an actual war for that. But I mean, I can't look. The word is not coming up right now. But read the paragraph for like the first paragraph from El Cid.
It says El Cid, Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, was a Castilian nobleman and military leader in medieval Spain. The Moors called him El Cid, which meant the Lord, probably from the original Arabic Al-Sa'id, and the Christians El Campeador, which stood for outstanding warrior, or the one who stands out in the battlefield. He was born in Vivar, a town near the city of Burgos. After his death, he became Castile's celebrated national hero and the protagonist of the most significant medieval Spanish epic poem, El Cantor de Mio Cid.
Like, read the next paragraph, actually.
Born a member of the minor nobility, El Cid was brought up at the court of King Ferdinand the Great and served Ferdinand's son, Sancho II of Leon and Castile. He rose to become the commander and royal standard bearer of Castile upon Sancho's ascension in 1065.
Well, see how you started talking about. That's when the Moors are starting to, you know, getting, you know, the fights was, like I said, when they were declining. The empire, the Moorish empire in Spain was declining at the time. Most of their might was located in North Africa. So that's where they were fighting in Spain. And of course their enemy was El Cid. That's why they gave him that name. Right, brother.
Keep going.
No, that's it on that. Like I said, you could do more. It's best, like I said, brothers, watch the movie El Cid, because you know we're not gonna go through all the details. It'll take hours to do that. We just hitting certain things, certain topics, and brothers could look it up afterward. Like I said, watch the movie El Cid. It'll definitely explain it a lot more. You know, right up.
It said the Moors were
actually pull up on the image of the movie El Cid, right quick. Just type in movie El Cid. It's an image to pop up. Just for brothers to see like the way it looks. Okay, that's how it looks. So when you look for the movie, that's gonna be what's that? The image, picture. Yeah, that's El Cid. Brothers should check it out. Check out El Cid. It's a good movie. You know, right up.
It says, the Moors were known for more than just conquest. While the remaining part of Europe was in a state of ignorance, the Spanish people took advantage of the knowledge of the black Moors. During the Moors' rule, many other capitals of Europe were mere hamlets, but Cordova.
Right, now look up the word hamlets. Because this right here, you got this is the history that Esau is not going to tell you, man. What they're about to tell you in the next paragraph is it's just going to be like, wow, I see why you don't want us to know about this, man. I see why you don't want Jake to know about this. But at the same time, the Jakes that fell upon this history, they held on to it too hard. Because it wasn't, you're not meant to grab and hold into what is getting ready to be said and be like, okay, this is who I am. No, this is just a part of what we were able to do even when we were in a rebellious stage as Israelites, right?
It says Hamlet is a small human settlement in different jurisdictions and geographies. Hamlets may be the size of a town, village, or parish. Be considered a small settlement or subdivision of a larger, or be treated as a satellite entity to a larger settlement.
Right, meaning, when hamlets, meaning there wasn't really nothing to be spoken of. Because now he's getting ready to make a comparison between a lot of these cities in Europe, you know, that were controlled and ruled by certain places. You know, Esau was coming up, doing his thing, you know, being a devil. But when you're talking about the Moors, you're going to find out what the Moors were doing. Let's find out if Negroes were swinging on trees during the 700s, going into the 2000s. Well, not 2000s, the early thousands.
It says, reading on, it says, the Moors were known for more than just conquest. While the remaining part of Europe was in a state of ignorance, the Spanish people took advantage of the knowledge of the black Moors. During the Moorish rule, many other capitals of Europe were mere hamlets, but Cordova, the capital of Spain, was a blooming city. It is said that after dark, one could walk many miles in Cordova and never pass through a street.
Right, pull up Cordova while the brothers, while you read it, brother, the image. Because we had on the city of Cordova. Back then, you would see, like, look at that. Those are Negroes, Hispanics, and a few, you know, so-called Negroes, a few so-called Hispanics that built that. And it's telling you that at night, one man could do what at night?
It said, Cordova never passed through a street not lighted by public lights.
See, they had public lights. We talking about in what, early, late 900s, you talking about 1,000, early 1,000, like 1065, 700s. This is the Dark Ages. You got neighborhoods out here in 2018, dark as hell, man. You drive by, you're like, God damn, man, it ain't got no lights. And it's 2018, but back then, it's telling you that way. When you leave it up to Jake, just like with the inventions, we got the board with all the inventions that the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans came up with. The lights, the chairs,
the form of all things.
Form of all things.
You know, the Heavenly Father.
The Heavenly Father is the form of all things.
You know, he passed it down.
He passed the spirit, right? The spirit of creativity.
Right.
It's passed down from Yahweh Bashim Yahshua to Israel, man.
That's right.
Even in our worst state. That's
right.
How great of a people we are, man.
This is when a person walked out after dark in London, he had to carry a candle or lantern with him to illuminate his path, and had to wear high shoes to walk through the thick mud that often covered the roads.
Like in these other places. Because that's a comparison.
That's right.
Right.
When many Europeans were garbed in skins and in coarse garments, meaning rough garments, the Moors were wearing silks, linens, and cotton cloths. They also washed in 900 bathhouses of Cordova.
You see that? Lavish, man. Who is that? You know what I'm saying? Who is that, man? We get our 2 Samuel's 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 23. If we can pull that up. And also the salt of the earth. And Matthew's right 5 and 15.
Yep.
Yeah, go to 2 Samuel 7.
2 Samuel 7:27. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people? 2 Samuel 7:23. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people? even like Israel, whom the Most High went to redeem for a people to himself, and to make him a name, and to do for you great things and terrible for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods. There's a question.
That's right.
You know?
But yeah, speak on that, brother.
It says, for what it's basically, it's like it's a rhetorical question too. It says, and what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel. Okay? Verse 24, for thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel, to be a people unto thee forever. Right. And thou, Lord, art become their power. We're a special people unto the Lord, man.
That's right.
And it said in verse 23, whom the Most High went to redeem for a people to himself. That's a special type of people. If the God of heaven and earth went to redeem a people to himself, that's a very special people. Obviously, these people will have an advantage over all the nations.
That's right. Especially in creativity and skills and different things. And art. You know, now, read on the Matthews, one of Matthews.
Matthew 5 and 15,
right.
Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. You go back to 13, it says, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. And we use that verse sometimes to show that, you know, we have the flavor, because that's when it says the savor. If the salt has lost its savor or flavor, it's basically good for nothing. But, you know, when you read this, it's talking about the disciples at the time. All right, they're the salt of the earth because their job is to what? Is to prophesy and give the word. But if they can't do that, they're good for nothing. But we also use that as look, we're the salt of the earth.
That's right. That's right. Now get Nahum chapter 1. Nahum chapter 2, and start at 1 and read on to like 6. Because like I said, we're not out here pushing the greatness of the Moors. It's just bringing history, understanding who we are. But ultimately, the Lord took them down. And there was a lot of, because when you read the stuff with the Moors, actually, you know what? Finish that paragraph and we're gonna hit Nahum.
Okay.
The paragraph in Babylon 10:2.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it?
Yeah, come.
All right. Now, when you read that, the lights and all that, that's excellency, right? That's some big. You know, they're doing big.
Right.
Now, but they're not doing big in the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Shah with the wisdom and knowledge and understanding. So that's why even the Moors eventually were taken down.
Right.
Now read Nahum, and this is how the Most High tells you. The Most High tells you how he feels about the so-called greatness of the Moors, which are Israelites.
Nahum 2 verse 1. He that dasheth in pieces is come up before thy face. Keep the munition, watch the way, make thy loins strong, fortify thy power mightily.
Right. Basically, the Lord. His anger towards Israel, what has he always done? He's always said, I'm going to bring a nation to come and, you know, kick your ass, man. And since you worship all these other gods and you think you're doing big, right, without me, I'm going to bring a nation to break you down, man. You get that on right quick, Psalm 17:13.
This is Psalm 17. Verse 13, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword.
Right. The only way the Lord's going to do that is if you back into the right image, you know, your nationality. But as Moors, when we were once upon a time Moors, because we got to speak like that, once upon a time, we, you know, in our ignorance, in our rebellion, we were called Moors. We took upon the name Moors in Islam. We had excelled. The history tells you we excel in certain things. But how does the Most High feel about? How did he feel about the excellence of the Moors? Now let's go back to Nahum.
Nahum 2, verse 1. He that dasheth in pieces is come up before thy face. Keep the munition, watch the way, make thy loins strong, fortify thy power mightily. For the Lord hath turned away the excellency of Jacob, as the excellency of Israel. For the emptiers have emptied them out and marred their vine branches.
See that? The Lord is turning away what? The excellency of Jacob. The excellency of Israel. Why? Because you're not being excellent in the ways of Yahweh by Shem Shah. You being excellent under what? Other doctrines, other philosophies, other idols. So the Lord is always, every time we did that in history, regardless of how great we might have thought we was, the Heavenly Father always grabbed a nation to come and humble the nation of Israel, man, through blood and captivity, ultimately, right?
The shield of his mighty men is made red. The valiant men are in scarlet. The chariots shall be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation. And the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. The chariots shall rage in the streets. They shall jostle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like the lightnings. He shall recount his worthies. They shall stumble in their walk. They shall make haste to the wall thereof, and the defense shall be prepared. The gates of the rivers shall be open, and the palace shall be dissolved.
That's right. So when you go, that's it on that, man. When you read Nahum 1 and 2, again, the Lord's anger is always been the wrath and the jealousy. The Lord said that he's a jealous power. So when you worshiping these other powers, man, what happens is that the Lord is going to send different nations to come down and you know, give you the business. And this time in our last captivity, Esau is that nation that, you know, according to Deuteronomy, gave us the business, man. You know what I'm saying? And we lost everything. We've been indoctrinated into Edom, Esau, the so-called white man's belief. And now we got to get out of that. But how do we get out of it? It's through Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is bringing good tidings, you know, the gospel. You know what I'm saying? He's bringing faith. You know, and actually, let me get well, let's go to that. Hebrews 11:1, and then yeah, Hebrews 11:1, and then we're gonna read Revelation 7 and 9, the multitude, and that's it. You know,
this is Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Right. Right, and let me get Job 29 and 14, because that goes specifically.
29.
Yeah, Job 29 and 14.
Job 29 and 14.
Right.
I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem.
Keep going.
I was eyes to the blind, and feet was eyes to the lame.
Right. Who are the blind to the lame? It's talking about the elect that is still asleep. It's not talking about the whole house of Israel. We only worried about the ones who are blind and who are lame, that are part of the election, that cannot see. We're like, oh, you talk about the Moors. Who are the Moors? So what do? Since you can't see it, we got to be your eyes. You know, you can't walk, we got to be your legs. So what does it say after that? I
was a father to the poor, and the cause which I knew not, I searched out.
That's exactly what we're doing.
That's right.
We didn't know about the cause like that, so we searching out. So we could be your eyes and we could be your legs, man. So we can, you know, preach this gospel to you, elect 144,000, 1/3, man. So you can have that for that fullness of Yahweh.
What's that scripture? The righteous studieth to
the answer. That's right, in Proverbs.
Yep.
Yeah, the righteous studieth the answer. That's what we doing, man. It's love. The scripture saying in Ephesians 3:19, for the love of Yahweh Shai, which is the passing of knowledge. You know, so we breaking bread. So with that, let's go to Revelation 7. Read 1 through 4, and then
Revelation 7 and 1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
I jump down to 9.
Verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man can number, of all nations.
That's the scattered. You know, that's the diaspora right there. The diaspora is spirits, of Israelite spirits elect. And then it goes into their history, because, you know, they need to, of course, they have to have faith first and foremost. This is just adds on to the faith. You know, this is just to add on to the faith. This about the Moors is not going to put faith inside of you. It's just going to add on fuel the faith that you already have inside of you. Right?
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb. clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, one of the things we learned is talking about Israelites. And they might look like the heathens, you know, but they're scattered. We learned today General Tarif, a Simeonite.
Yep.
So you have Dominicans. You have a lot of Dominicans. Last 2 weeks ago, Zebulonites as well. But you have this heavy influx of Dominicans, so-called Dominicans in northern Africa and Spain, man. You know.
That's right.
So you had so-called Dominicans calling themselves Moors, and you know some Dominicans, some so-called Dominicans or Simeonites, they're as dark as Judah, because they are off of the what's that? What is Simeon's blessing? It's being the stock of Judah, right? Being what's that? It says Simeon shall have the tents of Judah, something like that.
Let's see.
You know, because there's actually this the blessing of Simeon. It's because Simeon's land, if I'm not mistaken, is close to.
It's within Judah.
Yeah,
it's within the lot of Judah.
That's right.
Salakia.
So when you look at the Simeonites, that's why they come in those shades. It's crazy because when you look at a Simeonite is kind of like a Simeonite. The way you look at Simeon, it almost seems like a Judite and an Ephraimite got together and had a child, and it's kind of like the features of Judah with the hair of Ephraim. But of course it's not that. It's Simeon in its own tribe. But they can be around Judah and you wouldn't even know. Did you get it?
Salakia.
You know, so that's some good history, Yaki, but you know what I'm saying? Hopefully brothers is edified, man, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully brothers is edified. When we get ready to close, the brothers gonna pull up the last scripture. We're gonna close out part 1 of the Moorish Empire. And then of course it's off of Babylon and Timbuktu. The Moorish Empire, we going into it, we bring different history images, different history. We bring scriptures to back it up, of course. And did you get it, bro?
Come on.
All right, go ahead.
This is Joshua 19:1. And the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families. And their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Judah.
That's right. That's it. So that's why you have Simeonites where in the land of Ham.
That's right.
You know, so just know that.
That's right.
You know, so of course with that, man, this concludes part 1 of the Hebrew Israelite Diaspora, the subtitle, the Moorish Empire. So Lord willing, next week, if not next week, the week after, it's all through the Spirit. We're gonna hit part 2 of the Moorish Empire. You know what I'm saying? And let me see. And after that, Lord willing, because we got a little sneak peek. Little sneak peek is that if you brothers can read that ahead, so that if you're keeping up, so you can be like, okay, I know where the brothers is going. So Lord willing, the next one will be what's that? What's the Hebrew Israelite of Portugal? Hold on, brother. Damn. Well, basically the title has something to do with the Hebrew Israelite. Damn. So like guys, just give me 1 second. There you go. The next title, Lord willing, after part 2 will be is page 115, the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal.
Right.
And that's me personally. It's a chapter that resonates with me. As far as my background and different things, and how I can go into different things, and how a lot of my descendants came from Spain and so on and so forth. So that's going to be interesting. Right. But of course we're going to do part 2. We're going to finish part 2 of the Moorish. Lord willing, Abu Watazah. So look forward to it, man. Some good stuff. So with that, of course, we want to say Kal Halal to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Hakodash. Of course, we want to give double honor to our apostles and elders of great millstones. Shalom, salutation to all you sincere Akims, of course, the 4 winds, man. Pushing this truth with sincerity of heart, man. Stay strong, stay faithful, man. I'm your fellow servant, Kasam Gun.
Zion Allah.
That's right, man. Hey, we want to say to y'all, sincere Akims, hopeful elect, Bakarim Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Barakatham, Ba'ashem, Hakodash. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom.